This video is brought to you by 475 High Performance Building Supply. The Lunos E² Heat Recovery Ventilation System. Our project here is a 135 square foot shipping container turned into a living unit for a homeless shelter in Lawrence, Kansas. Using the Lunos fan gave us the opportunity to exchange fresh air to the inside of the unit. We begin by cutting a hole into the desired location on our wall. Next, we cut the tube to the size of the depth of our wall. Here, we set the tube into the wall, holding it in place for the meantime during construction. Now we can begin to prepare for wire coming through the wall by drilling holes into the studs. Once that is complete, we will measure our wire to make sure we have the appropriate lengths. Once the wire is cut, we can begin to run it through the walls. These wires will extend from the fans to the control unit, where the switches are mounted. With the wires in place, we will begin to prepare for the transformer and control unit to be wired in. Here we are stripping the insulation off the wire about 1/2 inch to allow for proper contact with the device. Wiring is as simple as inserting the wire into the correct terminal and tightening down. Repeat the process of stripping the insulation off the wire for the control unit. Now we can plug in the low voltage power from the transformer, followed by the wires from each of the fans in the wall. After the wiring is complete, we can begin to install our insulation around the fan. Here we must cut into the antenna wrap that we installed in another video, which I will link below. Because we did this, we must be careful to tape off all of the penetrations in the antenna wrap. On the exterior, we must install a weather sleeve in order to prevent water from seeping into the inside. This sleeve is then taped off around all sides. This has been done by using a self-adhered flashing. Once the rest of the wall has been constructed, we can then install our exterior grille. Then, in order to prevent any water from entering behind the wall assembly, we will caulk it with a clear silicone. Then, in order to give it a good appearance, we will strike it off with a rubber tool. Back on the inside, with the wall finishes already up, we will begin to install our fans. Once the wires are stripped, they can then be inserted into the plug. The plug is connected to the socket and the fan is tucked back into its tube. Repeat this process of stripping the wires and inserting them into the plug on the other side. With the filter in its proper place, we can then set the Lunos E² fan cover in its place. To begin wiring the switches, first we need a jumper wire to connect the top terminals of the switches. Next, we will attach the wires from the control unit to the switches as shown in the directions included with the Lunos fan. Once the switches are all wired in, we can set them into the box. Finally, we will install our wall plates to conceal the electrical boxes inside of our broom cabinet. Here we are using switch guards in order to remind the occupant that the fans are to remain on. Other than that, the wall plate is installed as you would any other. Couldn't be easier. This video has been produced by Studio 804, a graduate program at the University of Kansas School of Architecture and Design.